Hello, I'm going to share how I use Mythic Game Master Emulator, which is published by Wordmill Games. So if you go to www.wordmillgames.com, click on Resources or Mythic, you'll find the various websites for the Mythic Game Master Emulator, the first edition, and the different variations and stuff that go with it. For the resources, I grabbed the Mythic Adventure Journal sheet, the Adventure lists. You can use these other ones if you want, but these also work with the first edition stuff. So when we are working with Mythic, we'll typically have the Game Master Emulator. This is the first edition. It is made by Tana Pigeon. Her name is not on the cover here. There it is. But this is the original 2006 reflavored in 2022 with new art. And it is, as you can see, 54 pages long. So this is the very concise, straight to the point, how to actually do Game Master emulation using Mythic. This is the version that I learned and mostly stick with, whereas the Mythic Game Master Emulator 2nd edition came out in 2023 and hardcover in 2023. It has considerably more, being at 230 page count. So what I end up doing is I get to the first point where I read Mythic Adventures, Fate Questions, Random Events, and Scenes, and then I don't do any of the variation stuff. I do use a lot of the meeting tables, so like the actions, descriptions, and elements tables. That's about it. I do use the newer Fate chart and the modifiers, so that way I can answer my questions if I need to. But however, I do most of my asking of questions and answering via the game mechanics. And if I have a question that is not answerable by a game mechanic, I use the Mythic Fate chart. So, following this, we need to set up a few things. First, we'll grab a copy of the Adventure Journal and the Adventure Lists. What these do is that they provide a way for us to structure and store our adventures, so that way we can come back to them later and remember what past us did. I'm not going to get into what all these numbers on the side mean. That's for if you want to read the book. I don't use these most of the time. But when you do, it's just roll for as many as you have. Roll either 1 through 10, or a d4 and then a d10, or a d6 and then a d10, d8, d10, d10. What we're mostly going to focus on is the adventure journal and setting up our lists. So what I did is I set up a index card RPG character sheet using some random generated stats here, and then I just picked some stuff. So this character probably won't do much or make much sense in the grand scheme of things. I use 66 and then 5d10, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and assign the stats that way. So to set up an adventure, the hardest part for me is generally coming up with what genre am I doing, what setting am I doing, what tone or theme am I doing, and then where's my character and what's their goal and who's in their way. So since we are using Index Card RPG, we're using Warp Shell as our setting, which also denotes our genre, which is sci-fi. So Warp Shell setting as defined in Index Card RPG Master Edition. What I'm going to do is I'm going to open my Index Card RPG Master Edition book up to the log tables. So log stands for location, obstacle, and goal. I'm going to roll 3d20 and see what the results are. So I got 1, 2, 3, roll. You've got 2. So my location in Warp Shell is a cloud of vapor and breathable gas in space, punctuated by floating trees and globs of water. We're going to add that here. Location. A cloud of vapor and breathable gas in space, punctuated by floating trees and globs of water. Highlight that so it stands out. Cool. So that's our location. Then we'll come up with our obstacle, which was number 12. Sabotage. Zil drill bombs tear the place to shreds, blocking your way. Well, what are they blocking me the way of? We'll find out here in a second. Goal 3 is my goal. So it is repair a damaged power station on the Psyker frontier. Alright, well that's interesting. Repair a damaged power station on the Psyker frontier. I feel like that should be capitalized word. Okay. So these are our logs. We'll call that log. We'll color it orange because orange is a nice fancy color. So knowing that our location is a cloud of vapor that is going to be getting moved around here. Shoot, I messed up. Let's move this back. Yep. There we go. So now that we know our cloud of vapor is breathable gas, that is where we're at. We're in a nebula of some sort with floating gas or floating trees and breathable water, or breathable gas, floating water and trees. However, it is being bombed by Zil drill bombers, and we're actually here to repair the Psyker or generator on Psyker Frontier. So let's update our adventure journal. Scene summary. We're going to have that set up as Bilbo is sent to repair a power generator on the Psyker Frontier. Zil attack. And scene 1, oops, chaos factor is 5, as that is the standard default chaos factor for any Mythic adventure. And for notes, we can put the Psyker Frontier is a place of mystery. It is a nebula made of breathable gas that has floating, sorry about that, my headset died, floating trees and globs of water. Cool. So let's change all this color so it's a little bit easier to see. Green, red. I like red. So we don't know what this adventure is yet. I don't really know yet. I like to do that at the end of the adventure. So, sent to repair a power generator on the Psyker frontier. So this scene is not necessarily as, it's too vague. I need to have my scene have a purpose. Being sent to repair a power generator on the frontier is too vague. So let's make it, we'll put this down here for now. So we'll make it Bilbo arrives to the nebula to repair generator. Yeah, this should be a good scene, I think. Hopefully it is. So, using Mythic Game Master Emulator, what we'll do here is we will test our scene expectations. That is covered on scenes, expected scenes. So page 67. 67. So we test the expected scene, and I roll a 1d10 and compare it to the chaos factor, which is currently 5. If it rolls over the chaos factor, the scene happens as expected. I arrive at the nebula and I make my way to the power generator. If the D10 rolls under or within the chaos factor, I have an altered or an interrupt scene, and if it's odd, altered, even, interrupt. If it's interrupt, we roll for a, sorry for the random page movements here. We roll for a different type of scene. Where'd it go? We'll find it later. So we'll just roll D10. So the proposed scene is Bilbo Baggin arrives at the nebula to repair the generator, still within his ship. Roll a D10. 6, which is above the chaos factor, so the scene happens. So, as I am solo role-playing this, what would happen normally? What you would need to do is you would need to use your context, your expectations, and any kind of interpretation that you may need. So, knowing that the Zill are bombing the area, and I'm trying to get to the Psyker frontier to repair a power generator, that probably means using my expectations, that means it's probably some sort of defense system that the Psyker frontier has. But maybe due to that power generator being down, they're unable to get it working, and it's causing some sort of disruption for the Psykers, so I've been called in to fix it. I'm also using Psykers as an expectation because I think of Warhammer 40k. So let's say, so what would happen on my way in? I would think that I'd have to do some piloting checks to make sure that I can dodge the Zill bombs and stuff. So if I'm going to be dodging the Zill bombs, normally I think that would require a dex check for flight. So I'd roll a d20. We need to set a scene target. Let's set a scene target. 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 And we'll call it, I really like to start with 10 for a simple scene. Cool. So the scene target is 10. I need to roll piloting check above 10, so we'll roll my d20. Add that, plus 2. Boom. So I'm able to navigate past all of the the Zill bombers bombing the area, and they're going to town. Let's see, what does that scene look like? Like, what kind of chaos is going on here? Let's see if we can figure that out. Let's go to the meeting tables here. Oops, why? No. Oh, good. Ugh. This is the downside of using Obsidian to try and view PDFs. Bit width, of course. Come on. There we go. Okay, so what are the Zill doing? Let's look for army character identity. We're looking for army tactics, I think it is. Character actions in combat. No, not yet. We'll do character actions in combat. So we'll roll 2d10 or 2 100 dice. Roll the first one for 98, which is waste. Oof. Pick a facing. 42. Waste. Ferocious. So they're laying ferocious waste. They are just bombing the crap out of this. So it seems like I'm going to have to make some survival checks to get to the power generator. Let's ask a fate question. And let's see what the fate chart has to provide me. So let's go to this table of contents. There's that fate chart. Fate chart, page 194. 194. So I think this is where most people get tripped up when they're looking at fate and they go, what? A chart? Why do I have to use a chart? Why can't the GM just tell me, well, we're playing GMless, so we have to use a chart in order to answer our questions. Ironsworn does a similar thing. There's also a few other oracles that you can use too. However, what we're looking at here is the chaos factor is 5 currently, and then our odds of making it to the generator, or what was the question? Let's say, is the generator, does my character have, shoot. Oh, the question is, do any bombs hit near my character? So we're going to use chaos factor 5 with the odds of it being yes, very likely, so 75 or lower. You'll see two other little numbers here. This one's 15 and that's 96. This is the extreme yes and extreme no. So whenever it says within, that means you roll percentile, and anything that number and less is within. So it's just like filling up a percentage. I have a 45% chance of it being yes, not the 65 on top. 65 on top means no. So in this case, 25% on top means no answer. 75% chance underneath is a yes answer. So I'm going to roll percentiles. 26 is my answer. So yes, there are bombs hitting near where my character is. So now I have to do a survival check, which is going to be wisdom or dex. I'm not sure. It depends on how I'm going to be surviving it. Am I using my wisdom to know bomber flight plans and how their tactics usually happen, or am I just going by the skin of my pants, or skin of my teeth pants, or am I flying by my pants just trying to nimbly bimbly jump through the bombs and stuff? I'm gonna go with, since it's an equal shot, I'm gonna go with I am nimbly bimbly jumping through the bombs and stuff. So we're gonna roll a d20 plus 2 for Dex again. Ooh, barely made it. So, as my character is jumping through the minefield or the bombing and the fiasco that's going on and the chaos and all that stuff, my character is able to make it to the power generator and start work on that power generator. I'm going to call that the end of a scene because that is technically, I would say that that is a unit of combat. And now I can update my adventure journal and say, Bilbo begins work on the power generator. Scene number being, oops, not 1. Scene number being 2. Now, did this scene go within my, was I under control for this scene? Yes. Why? Because I had 2 different actions or checks that went favorably in my way, and I succeeded at those. So that meant that I was able to successfully dodge those things. That would technically reduce the chaos factor down 1 level to 4. What that does is it reduces the amount of chaos and sway in fate chart questions whenever I ask a fate chart question. So if we were looking at very likely here with chaos factor 4, we notice that it goes down by 10%. So that means I'm less likely to have a yes answer, even though it's still above 50%. Where that becomes even more apparent or visible is if it was at chaos 50-50. Went from chaos factor 5 to 4. That's almost a 25% jump, or a 15% jump versus the 10% up here. So going from 50 to 35, that's a pretty big number jump to try and roll under. So now let's look back at my scene here. Bilbo Baggins begins to work on the power generator. Let's test the scene expectations and see what actually happens. So I have to roll over the chaos factor in order for it to become expected. If I come here, I don't think it's in here, or it's not very easily accessible. Yeah. I was having issues finding that earlier, although I wasn't looking too hard. So let's roll my D10. 5. Okay, cool. Scene proceeds as expected. So what kind of state is the power generator in that it's broken? Let's ask the fate chart, or not the fate chart, but what we're going to ask is the elements tables. Damn it. Let's see here. We're going to get a description. So, descriptor 1. 75 offensively. Ooh. 95 offensively. Valuable. So this is a, it sounds to me like this was actually powering some sort of air defense mechanism that was taken out by an explosion or sabotaged. Was it sabotage? Ooh, that's a good question. Was the power generator sabotaged or blown up by a bomber? So we're going to go with 50-50, chaos factor 4. If yes, it was sabotaged. If no, it was blown up by one of the bombers. So we roll a D100. 81, no. Okay, so it was blown up by bombers. It was almost an extreme no. 88, rolled an 87. Woof. See if I can get that page to fit here. Of course. Come on. Here we go. So, it was blown up by bombers. What does that mean? It is probably gonna be destroyed, so I'd have to figure out how to jerry-rig it or use my knowledge, my intelligence stat, in order to fix it. So let's see here. Can my character use their intelligence as a scientist? Ugh. Must be a very dumb scientist to have wisdom over intelligence. So let's roll a d20. D20 plus 1. Can my character determine it's always important to ask the question before you roll, so that way you know what the yes outcome is and the no outcome, and you can hold yourself accountable. So, are we able to determine the extent of the damage of the power grid? Boom, 16 over 10. Yes. So, let's see. Does the power generator need, or what kind of damage is it? Let's ask the description tables again here. So, come on, baby, now. Okay, so we're gonna ask. I don't remember what the other tables are here. Alien actions, caverns, army descriptors. I don't need character stuff right now. I need mechanical descriptions of sorts. Oh, come on, Obsidian. Mutation, name, magic. That's way down there. Why would I go all the way down there? Okay, whatever. It's technically in the back so that we can print it out and stuff. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use the scavenging results. 87. Supply. What kind of state is it in? 08. Supply block. So it sounds like it's going to be hard to get any kind of repair mechanisms here. My warp shell probably is taken off, so I'm going to have to find a way to get repair supplies here. Do I see any kind of supplies nearby? Let's go back to the chaos factor, or not the chaos factor. Chaos factor is 4. If I wasn't using Obsidian, this would scroll a lot faster. And if I was using the book, you just look at the book. Always buy the book. Chaos Factor 4. I'm unsure, so we're gonna roll. Are there supplies nearby? Yes or no. Holy buckets. there are supplies here. So let's make some checks to use my character strength, in order to get the. Or no, let's use my wisdom, because I think my character would be smart enough to use like tools and stuff to get the yeah, they'd be smart enough to use like a wagon or tools and stuff to get the supplies to where they need to, because they wouldn't be able to get them there otherwise. So we're gonna roll a d20, wisdom +2, hot diggity 13. So they're able to get supplies there, and they begin working on repairing the generator for the air defense turrets. So let's set a we'll call it generator repair 0 or 10 0. Cool. So that's how much effort I've done for it. Let's do it. Let's do a timer. Oh no. Whatever's gonna happen is not gonna be good. We're gonna use my expectation. So in one round, there's gonna be a bomber coming by. Zil bomber incoming. Rounds 1. Boom. No bueno. Okay, so now we've got a target to do, which means I get one roll, then the timer ticks down, and then the action happens. I don't know how you guys do your actions, but I usually do the timer ticks down, and then on the 0, that's when it actually happens. So we're gonna do a intelligence check to see if my character can repair the box. However, knowing that the Zil bombers are incoming, I'm gonna crank the target up to 12. That means I gotta roll a 12 or better with a d20 plus 1. So d20 plus 1. Go, gadget, go. Ooh, failure. Okay. So, actually, I messed up. That's bad GME on my part. Why? My character's not a dummy. This isn't so he knows how to repair it. He knows how to repair it. That's why he's here. So what he's gonna do is he's gonna use a roll. He's gonna use some effort dice. However, since I randomly generated this stuff, he has no weapons or tools. Does he have weapons or tools? There's a good question. Does my character have tools? We're gonna go very likely Chaos Factor 4, 65 or less. Of course he doesn't have tools, so he's doing it by hand, which is actually in his favor because he's got a +2 to his d4. So we're gonna roll d4 +2. Oof, kitten roll. All right, so he's made 3 progress. 3 progress out of 10. 3. Let me take this down. Oops, I was already on 1. So this round the bombers are coming again. However, we're going to try and roll this again. Hopefully he gets a 4. Ugh, come on. 6. Alright, cool. So that means the bombers come. He's going to have to do a dexterity check in order to avoid the bombers. If not, he's going to have to do a defensive roll to save against taking damage. So we're going to do a d20 +2 to avoid the bombs. Misses. 12, 9, misses the bombs. Okay, so now he has to do a defensive roll. So I got a +3. So we get a +3. Roll. Luckily, he's able to resist the bombs from killing him. I don't really know what to do with that, so I'm just going to make a call and say he does not take damage. And now he's able to continue on doing his repair checks. So we're going to roll that again. Hopefully he rolls a 4. Come on, man. Ah! Yeah, I don't have any timers, so this just automatically happens. He repairs the generator. So with the generator repaired, we're gonna go with does the defense turret turn on? We're gonna say very certainly or very likely. Chaos factor 4, so 65 or less again. Come on, baby. Yes, cool. So the air defense turrets turn on. So does that mean that he is able to repel the Zil bombers, or let's just stick with the first one. Is he able to repel the Zil bombers? I don't know. So we're gonna just say 50-50. That is a nope, because it needed to roll under 35. So it is not repelling the Zil bombers. The Zil bombers are able to fly around and like dodge the air defense turret as it's slowly tracking and trying to do like a big turbo laser from Star Wars or something. So he needs to figure out how to help the defense turret. Maybe there's another defense turret. Are there more defense turrets around that would be able to be activated and stuff? So let's roll another fate check and say 4. I'm gonna go with very likely again. Why would there only be one? Nope, this is the only one there. So we're gonna have to figure out how to take down a bomber, which sounds like the end of this scene. So let's update the journal here. Generator repaired and defense turret activated. Unable to shoot Zil bombers. So, because this scene went very poorly, we're going to crank the chaos factor back up to 5. So now I have to see if my character can repel the Zil bombers. Let's see. Failbow works to repel. I don't even know if that's the right repel. Whatever. Zil bombers from further attacks, helping the defense turret. This is scene 3. Cool. All right. So yeah, that's how I use Mythic Game Master Emulator with Index Card RPG to figure out what my log is for location, obstacle, and goal, to build my character, and then set up the adventure journal. The one thing I did not touch on here is the lists. Let's cover the lists. I don't know why it's still showing over here that it's got stuff on it. Oh, there he goes. Finally updated. So technically, what we should have done They should have came here and it said repair generator. So that would have been done. We got Zil invaders, and then defense. Repel Zil bombers. So what these mean is these are different active threads for me to pursue while working on my adventure here. So what I would do here is I would use this adventure journal. I would pick a thread. If I didn't know which one to work on, I would roll a 1d10. So I could do boop 110, show to 10, I choose. So I would have to repair the generator. However, that has been completed. So what we would do is we would just strike it from the list, bump this up, and then continue on from there. So now my new thread is repel Zil bombers. Maybe my character would have found save psyker victims, or repair defense grid. So because I've got psyker victims, maybe there's the psychers get involved, or maybe there are tourists, because it sounds like a cool place to go, and these people would get involved somehow. So what if I needed a character? Because who are the Zil invaders actually going after? Is it the tourists or the psychers? I don't know. Let's roll a d10. Boop. 1. Well, the Zil invaders aren't going after themselves. Let's roll again. 2. Again, they're not going after themselves. 10, choose. Alright, they're going after the psychers. The tourists are just victims. So I would use this to determine, oh, why are the Zil invaders going after the psychers? And then that would further change my location obstacle goal. So now my location is still at the nebula. Obstacle is still the Zil invaders, but now my goal is to figure out why they're trying to kill the invaders, or the psychers. And thus would make my adventure have more detail and stuff. If you have any questions, please comment in the comments below. I'll leave a link to the Wordmill Games website for downloading of resources. Otherwise, go to DriveThruRPG, Lulu.com, or Amazon and purchase the Mythic Game Master Emulator 2nd Edition, and Mythic RPG 2nd Edition is soon to come. Also check out Patreon for Mythic Magazine, where they publish all sorts of cool solo role-playing tips, sub-mechanics, and other advice. Bye-bye.